to talk about two of the most important parts of sorting to me, and that is how this horse moves on its front end and how it stops. Because when you are sorting, you're going to go into that pen and you're going to cut off a cow, and that cow might stop and turn back. So you're only going to need to be able to stop and be able to use that front end properly to be able to stop the cow and turn it back. Or in the gait, you need to be able to move freely in that front end and be able to stop without a whole lot of head jerking, and you don't want to really be in this horse's face a lot. The more you're in their face, the more they're going to fight you, the harder it is in that sorting. And so the more time you spend in the training pen teaching these horses how to be soft and how to move that front end and how to stop properly is going to be so vitally important. So I'm going to show you a little bit on this horse what it looks like. This horse I've won quite a bit in sorting on, and then I'm going to get on an older horse that we just brought into training that hasn't done sorting and show you what I do to get them to this point where this mare is. Okay, so when I even when I'm tuning this horse up, I do the same techniques as I do with my new horses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring her out, make sure she's warmed up, make sure I obviously have the right leg equipment and that everything is sitting on her properly. I use bell boots and splint boots just because I want to make sure that she's protected, she doesn't clip herself when she's moving her front end. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to come out and test my older horses and see how they're doing. Okay, light pull, good simple stop, roll them over. Okay, now that's a simple thing, and that's what I'm going to do at the very beginning when I bring my older horses that know what they're doing. I'm just going to bring them out and just test them, see where they're at, see if they're listening, see if everything's good. Okay, so right here she's listening, everything's soft, she's not fighting with her face. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm going to speed it up a little bit so that we can illustrate a little bit more. I don't have a cow in here today, but I'm going to show you what it's going to look like if we're going into sorting a cow. Okay, and I don't practice with cows a whole lot because I want my horses learning to listen to me and not to track the cow, especially in the sorting. And you say, well, that sounds a little funny. Well, the reason for that is because if you train them to hook onto a cow and they hook onto the wrong one in the sorting, it can cause problems. So I want these horses connected to me, not to the cows. So that's why I don't do a whole lot practice with cows. Okay, it's different than the cutting. When you hook onto a horse and cutting, or a cow and cutting, you want that horse there with that cow. It's not so much in the sorting. Okay, so we got our energy up. We're going to go in. I'm going to stop my horse. Okay, I'm going to roll it back. Come over here. I'm going to stop my horse. I'm going to roll it back. I'm going to show you what it looks like from the hind end, and then I'll show you what it looks like when they're moving in the front, so you can see what it looks like back here. Okay, you can see how she keeps that butt. Okay, now I'm going to show you what it looks like doing it up here in the front. Okay, sitting in your seat properly. Be able to stop your horse. Okay, this mare has a lot of energy. She loves working cows. She loves working. Really makes a big difference. Okay, so if you can see how efficient you can be working a cow if you can stop your horse, be able to back him up, kick him forward, stop, turn, stop, turn when you're in that gait. Okay, all of this is really the essential parts of teaching your horse to sort properly. So I'm going to get on my older horse here and show you what it looks like to start your horse to get to this point. Okay, so when you're done stopping your horse and you've gotten that kind of figured out and you're ready to start turning your horse, using that front end. This is the techniques that I'm going to show you. A lot of people, what they do is they grab, they want to turn to the right here, and they just kind of grab and turn with the right rein. And this is what happens. Doesn't really matter how you use your legs or your feet, they're going to go in a circle. And really, that's what you see a lot of in the cow pen, is they go in there to chase that cow, and they pull with one hand, and you just see this big wreck. You don't see them stopping and turning the cow, you just see them chasing them in a circle. Okay, or they'll be running up here, and they'll go to get their cow, and they'll go to turn, and they'll come way back over here, and then they got to come way back over here to get their cow, and they're turning all over the place, and it really just ends up being a big wreck. Okay, so how to solve that problem of getting your horse not turning free on the front end is by using your other rein. Okay, so if I'm going to turn to the right, I'm going to tip my horse's head slightly to the right so they know that's the direction I want to go. And I'm going to hold this rein, so I'm going to hold that head fairly straight, which is going to keep this hind end from moving. Okay, so I'm going to tip and ask him to move. Okay, if you see that as well, I'm going to ask them to move off of my leg. So if I'm going this direction, I'm going to tip, I'm going to hold that butt with this other hand, use my leg, tip, use my leg and my hands properly. And what that does is it gets your horse set up to stop the cow, and it also gets them freed up on that front end. And then you want to start this real slow so that they can understand and get the idea. Their head will come up a little bit, they'll get a little fumbly in their front end, and that's okay. The more you practice this, the faster and the better they'll get, just like the mare in the first video. So I would spend a lot of time just at this speed practicing for yourself and your horse how to use your hands properly. So I'm going to tip, make sure their head stays straight, walk away. Stop, tip, make sure their head stays straight. If they kind of fight you a little bit, I might just keep going around till they get the idea. There. Okay. Make sure, especially on these horses, that you use the right leg protection, because you don't want to get them where they're clipping themselves and they won't want to turn. So it's key to make sure you got some bell boots on so they don't hit themselves. But that is going to make a world of difference if you can practice that at home or in the arena before you go in and sort, to get them to free up on their front end and then be able to stop correctly.